Hello all Inderes TV viewers and greetings from London. Today I have with me the CEO of Sampo Group, Torbjörn Magnusson, with me to talk about the freshly updated financial targets of Sampo. Sampo will host its Capital Markets Day here in London and it starts in a couple of hours. But now, first of all, Torbjörn, welcome to the interview.
Thanks very much. Pleasure to be here.
Previously, you have set targets for your operational segments If and Hastings as well, but now you've moved to a group-level target setting. What was the rationale behind this decision?
Well, in this 3-year period, we have changed the group so much. The structure is changed and simplified, and we're now a pure-play P&C group with very few assets or divisions, as it were. And it makes sense to have just one target for the group then.
Yeah, sounds reasonable. You said that you have now a growth target of 7%. You target 7% growth in your operative profit per share.
Yes.
And this is obviously, if it comes from organic growth, is a very good level.
Target.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So does this come only from organic growth, or does the target include potential share buybacks as well, for example?
We will use any means to achieve the value creation that we want, of course, and I suspect that it will include also share buybacks. But the important thing here is that we have, over this period now, developed our distribution so strongly, developed digitalization so strongly, that we have a really good starting point. We're in the Nordics, where the market is a good one. It's a consolidated market. We're in the UK, where we have a leading specialized insurer on the price comparison websites that are growing in themselves. So we have a lot of good growth opportunities across our book, and that is what will drive the majority of the EPS accretion, I think, over this period. And then we'll certainly do buybacks as well.
Let's talk about profitability next. Your new financial target for the group's combined ratio is 85%, which is 1% lower than the previous 86% target. And obviously this is a very good level for a P&C operator compared to Sampo's history or the history of the Nordic P&C market in general. So I'm assuming that you don't expect the price competition to get fierce in the next couple of years. So my question is this even a real issue for Sampo? Are the Nordic customers price sensitive these days?
Well, to begin with, let's start with the operative EPS that we set. We set that target so that we can balance and be flexible between margin improvements and growth. And that's a tactical decision that this management team is very used to taking every day so that we can improve the total value of the company. That's what's most important. Then, if you look at the Nordics, sure, actually digitalization in the mass market business that we write is more important than ever. And to invest in digitalization, you have to be big. So it's much fewer small companies around nowadays in the Nordic markets than, say, 5 or 10 years ago. Actually, I think I've never seen fewer small insurers in the Nordics in my entire career, and that's more than 30 years.
Yeah, that's quite a contrast, for example, compared to USA, where the largest operators' market shares are much, much lower than in the Nordics.
The US is a very different insurance market.
Yeah.
We know our home market, the Nordics, really well, and we know the UK market, the digital part of that, really well as well.
Yeah. So how do you see the distribution between your underwriting profit and the investment return to develop in the strategy period? Any movements expected there?
Well, predicting the investment markets is always a bit of a challenge, I think, for everyone. And the important thing is that the quality of our earnings has improved now, in that the underwriting is a bigger proportion of the total EPS, as it were. And then, okay, with higher interest rates, that also is an improvement on the stability of the investment returns for us. It makes it simpler to take investment decisions.
Then you stated this morning that you target to accumulate 4 billion euros of deployable capital.
Yes.
What does this mean?
More than 4
billion, yeah.
Yes.
So what does this mean, and where does this capital come from?
Well, that's the accumulated profits, And then we also have some possibilities for balance sheet optimization, that we still own a couple of assets that we would like not to see on the balance sheet in 3 years' time. And that's the totality of that.
So this is capital you can distribute to shareholders or use in acquisitions?
That's the two potentials, distribute to shareholders or bolt-on acquisitions in the geographies where we really already are. So yes.
Yeah.
And I think we've shown very clearly in the past 3-year period that we're quite happy to distribute money to shareholders when we have excess capital that we don't see any value accretive use for. Then we distribute it to shareholders.
Yeah, well, that brings us to my next question. Since you said that you're going to distribute the excess capital to shareholders if you don't use it for acquisitions. Now, we all know that you've purchased Topdanmark previously and also stated that you're interested in buying more if the price is right. Would it be possible that Sampo acquires a completely new P&C insurance company in the Nordics, in the UK, or even somewhere else?
There isn't really anything in the Nordics, there's a limited number of insurance companies, and in the UK, we are in the market where we'd like to be. We will not go into commercial business in the UK. We're in the price comparison website distribution channel, and there's also a very limited number of acquisitions that we could make, and they would be small compared to what we already have. And we will not go into other geographies. So coming back to what's the best value creation we can do in the next period with high margins and good growth opportunities in our business, it's organic growth. Organic growth is the main strategy for the coming period.
Sampo is now a pure P&C operator that focuses especially on the Nordics. Some might wonder, how does Hastings fit into this picture? You obviously talk a bit about that, but could you explain how does it, Hastings is still a rather small player in the UK and all the other operations are quite big in the Nordics. So how does this Hastings fit into the big picture of Sampo?
Hastings is quite a sizable insurer in the UK, and we have an 8% market share in motor in the UK, which gives us almost as many customers as we have in the Nordics, actually, because the UK is a big market. And it's motor insurance and it's home insurance, it's mass market, it's digitalization, it's all the things that we do in the Nordics. So it fits really well. And the culture of the company and the management team are people and a culture that we really like, and it fits so well with Sampo. So it's a great combination. It adds a little bit to our growth opportunities in a way that we couldn't do in the Nordics. That's also nice.
Yeah. So even though you're a small player in the whole UK market, you're kind of big in the niche market
in that segment, the digital segment. Yes.
Last question is about the solvency target. You lowered your solvency target range, or actually you lower the lower threshold of the range.
The midpoint.
Midpoint.
And you're right.
Yeah. So making the target range a bit wider.
Yes.
How should the investors interpret this?
Well, with all the reductions of market risk on the balance sheet, we felt it was appropriate to lower the midpoint a little bit. Then, of course, our solvency capital is smaller, so to have the same flexibility today than 3 years ago, now that we've exited Nordea and distributed that money, that we've demerged with Mandatum, it's the solvency capital is smaller, the range has to be a little bit wider to give us the same flexibility. And then the risk is lower, so take down the midpoint a bit.
Thank you very much, Torbjörn, for this interview, and I hope you are very pleasant Capital Markets Day.
It was a pleasure. Thanks very much.